Good morning. It's another video. I noticed you can almost never really tell what day it is because I'm pretty much always wearing the same thing. uh, well, um, Wednesday morning over here. Just about to head on out to work. Um, Originally, I didn't really have anything I felt like uploading, but then God's like, "Yeah, make another video." My my little ragtag band of followers here. I guess it's entertaining. So I thought, and then I said, what should I make a video about? Let's see. So I searched myself a little bit, all the different things, the different experiences. And then he said, yeah, you have a lot to choose from. Dig around. So I said, okay, something a little bit concise, something that's interesting, a little bit more about what's really out there. So he said, yeah, sure. And then I remember a something that happened to a friend of mine, and my friend, I knew him since I was a little child, and we grew up very close. And then me and my family, we moved around all over to Asia and stuff like that. And then I left my birth country when I was younger than 10 years old, and I didn't come back until I was around 28. But this friend of mine, he was, living here in my birth country. And I used to see him a couple times growing up in the summers whenever we came back here for summer break. Um, but I went a different route in life. I went the technical route, and he went more the art route, movie making, film, painting. And then when I moved back, way past the age of around 28, I gotten married, and I was about 1.5 year into my marriage, and we spent a little bit of time together. He wasn't married then. He had actually started going to film school after having a little career in acting, both theater and some movies. But I guess he 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 didn't really feel like he had the mobility that his talents deserved. And so he went and studied directing at film school. And then a couple years later, he came back, and then we hung out a lot more, and we got to catch up and share a lot of different things. And I kind of was aware of his struggle to sort of find legitimacy as an artist, um, and whatnot. I recognized he had talent, and then not long after that, when he came back from grad school or film school, I had really gotten into meditation, and I was all the way into Buddhist philosophy, and I meant that I'd really found something. And I used to share that a lot with him, and I'd stopped eating meat. I was all about like trying to live compassionately in the philosophies of the Buddha, his sutras and the Four Noble Truths. And I had this transformative aspect of actually integrating meditation that I noticed. And then I used to share that a lot with him, and he thought it was very, very interesting, probably because he's an artist. And we used to kind of talk a lot about how it's a little limited for a guy like him to like get good projects. Although he's talented, he wants to make very artsy stuff, but there's not a budget for that. Nobody's going to finance straight up dream projects from an artist's point of view. There needs to be a market. And then I remember telling him a little bit about what I had researched. Just, I'm a polymath, so I like researching all these different things, everything from history to mysteries to cosmology, whatever, about the human body. Everything I find interesting. And then I told them I'd seen all these sort of social political documentaries about everything that's sort of broken with like the big financial machine and the conflict of interest and why it leads to sort of like exploitation of people in third world countries, big industry, oil companies going and ravaging nations, mining companies going and ripping out gold and suppressing people, just all these nasty things. And then like clothing brands that go and use sweatshops all over the world and blah blah blah, and then they analyze the root cause of it all, and it's usually like money, greed, and power. And I used to share this with my friend, and he's like, oh man, sounds like a pretty whacked out world. And I was like, yeah, it's bad, man. Like, even from that point of view, before I knew about how far else it went. And then I kind of got like this idea that it kind of ties into this inner cabal, the secret societies. I had gotten many hints of that. I mean, just look at the history of the United States and you'll find out that it's a pretty hardcore Masonic organization, and then you dig around a little bit and it's all over the place, Mason lodges are big here too. They're massive where I'm from. As a matter of fact, my friend, the artist, his grandpa was a high order Mason. He was like, yeah, my grandpa was into that. And then I asked, what about your dad? His dad is an artist too. And he said, no, his dad never got into that. He didn't want to join. That's why his career sucked, That's why I never really made it anywhere as an artist, even his dad. That was coming from his mouth, not mine. So if you're watching this, it's your fault. I didn't say it. Very good family anyways. But so one day he calls me a little bit after he's been a few years sort of mediocre types of tasks and projects, and he calls me and he says, hey Eric. I said, hey, what's up? And he says, how's it going? I said, so. And he's like, have you ever been, it starts off something like this, like, have you ever been sort of asked to join the Masons lodge, the lodges? And I said, not directly, but yes, something like that. And he says, cause I am. And then I said, oh no, like, don't join them, And he says, yeah, but you're not gonna get anywhere as an artist if you don't. And I said, buddy, I don't know what to say. And that was before I met God too. I was just like, I was trying to look at it very much from a Buddhist point of view, and I said, it's all impermanence anyways. It's all impermanence. The world it's a bitter, nasty, slow grind sort of hell if you're unlucky, and it's serially depressing if you're reasonably lucky, And I was like, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, and I totally get that, because I did notice that they would hold the keys for everything interesting, especially in the world of creative arts and movies and film, music, whatever. And he's like, yeah, if you want to become part of something, you gotta join. And he's like, he told me, they're telling me like, hey dude, don't you notice that there isn't any art movement on the avant-garde? There isn't enough talent, there isn't nothing happening. If you want to be part of something, you must join us, and then we kind of tell you what to do, And I said, and actually he had already joined by then. There wasn't really a way for me to, and then already I was like, so what's happened since you joined? And so, oh, I can't, it's sort of like you can't really say, there's so many things you can't say. And then I think like half a year later, because he lives in the capital city, I lived in another city. He moved away from the city that he was born in, and we spent our childhood in. And then he comes back about half a year later to visit his parents, and then I get to meet him too. And I asked, like, and then I'd been to my first meditation retreat, like hardcore meditation retreat, and things had been really, really quite amazing. And then he's like, I need you to tell me about that retreat. Like, I really want to know what happened. I said, yeah, I'm glad to tell you, you know. And then it turns out he had also been sent to Sweden to like this mystic lady to like learn all this stuff. And it was all these mystical practices. And I said, hey, you can't start doing that. I was sold on Vipassana, right? The Buddha's original meditation technique. I said, and they were doing things that were sort of correlating with these, there was aspects of what he had learned that ties in with, they called it grounding, to ground your body. And I was like, there's an aspect of that in Vipassana, but you guys have added a lot of weird things to it. I mean, we were both completely, obviously, right? Like, it's all garbage. And then I said, let me guess, you learned that from these Masons. They're the ones that sent you. He's like, yeah. It's like, that's it, man. And then they use that in their art. They ground themselves to like sense things, and images pop out, or they get senses and they put that in their art. I don't know what else has happened. That was already some years ago. And when I had my sudden conversion to Christianity, I called him up and I said, hey buddy, I've been dead wrong all this time. I've been dead wrong. You got, like, all the stuff I said about Buddhism is baloney. And then I told him my story, and he's like, that's amazing. And I said, yeah. And he's like, that's cool, and he said, because all religions are one, right? I said, no, they're not all one. That's the BS they're trying to roll out. And he's like, yeah, that's what they got us working on, is a bunch of artists is trying to convince everybody that it's all one. What a sick story, man. And then I told him, it's not all one, but how can I convince you? Why would you ever take my word for it? I'm just in his mind, I'm a square engineer that looks at the world as 1, 2s, and 3s, maybe divided by 5, and then you get a bunch of fractions. That's about as creative as we get, right? All right, guys. We got to pray for the world. We got to pray for these folks, because he's a decent guy. He's a good soul. All right. Yeah, so there's this Zoom meeting meetup thing. I'm gonna figure out the platform and set up a date. Maybe sometime next week, huh? Maybe people got some time off in the Easter. Okay. Thanks for watching the video. May God bless you. May God bless our families. May we seek Him. May we find passionate love for Him. Glory to Kingdom. Amen. Bye.